Hey, before we get kicked off here, I want to talk about the presenting sponsor of this show, and of course, that's none other than Miller Lite. No matter what team you're rooting for, there's one thing that we can all agree on, and that's that football season brings us together. A connection like that deserves to be celebrated with a light beer that's just as great. And at just 96 calories a can, Miller Lite is the only light beer that you'll want to celebrate with all season long. Lot to watch this weekend.
Yeah,
lots to watch.
Lot of football, big football, do or die for Notre Dame. Kind of do or die officially now for the Bears. So I get sucked back in if they win one more. We're probably like 6 weeks out from having beers you can just store on your back deck. That's always a nice feeling.
I agree.
So yeah, about 6 weeks probably.
Yeah, if you listen to the draft on Monday, you know what we're talking about.
Yep.
But yeah, I agree. That's always great. So shout out to Miller Time. It's Miller Time all season long. From kickoff to the whistle, you know you can't go wrong with a Miller Lite in your hand. Make it Miller Time all season long. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door when you visit MillerLite.com/redline, or you could find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Just make sure you celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories, 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
96 calories.
Yeah. People like...
That's like net negative, essentially.
It's like celery, basically. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. If you're like walking with your beer, that's you're neutral for sure.
I mean, you down a Coke, it's like 350.
Yeah.
Everyone likes to strut the seltzers, too. The seltzers are in the triple digits. I think
are.
they're all 100.
Yep.
We got a nice 96 here.
Mm-hmm. But it doesn't taste like it.
No. It's got some bite. It's
real
got some
flavor to it.
there.
Yeah.
Full body, yeah.
Anything under 100 calories might as well be like 20 calories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So on that note, all right, Ben Mang, welcome to the mid show. As you heard, Uncle Chaps is joining us. Besides that, we got the full crew. Fresh off 100,000 subscribers. Chaps, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I feel like it's been a little bit since we've chatted.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, and last time I think you were on any of our programming, you made an absolute mockery of desserts.
That's true.
It is true.
That's true.
I went back and watched, and from an outside perspective, I could see how people were calling it an abomination to the Lord. That being said, the greater northeastern part of Florida went bananas over
Did they?
it.
Yeah.
They about threw me a
Bananas?
parade. Yeah,
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I did not get a memo or any kind of notification that you had been suspended from our programming. I'm guessing that was a silent unilateral suspension from Ed.
That happens. It happens from time to time. I got suspended from the draft a while ago, too. A couple
He was
years
the
ago.
first ever suspension.
Was he tipping picks? What was he doing?
He was
think
floating topics out there.
Yeah, I think I gave away a topic.
Yeah.
Well,
Can't do
and
that.
why was that against the rules? Why was that against the rules, Ed?
It's against the rules.
I believe he might have
Wait.
actually...
Why was it against the rules? I forget.
Why was it against? I don't think you
Floating topics is against the rules because once you put it out to the Twitterverse, the X-verse, you get a bunch of replies, and then people are just going to use that as their picks. And that's not what we want.
Anybody in particular that you're thinking of would do that?
That brain next to me humming as original as possible.
Right.
Same with your bad food brain. Same with my shitty.
What do you mean my bad food brain?
We want that all original.
Why don't you do nobody can know what the topic is until you sit down?
That's coming. It's got to come at some point.
Because then you can't use all the BuzzFeed articles of the top 20 different things.
That's right.
But then one person would know, and that would be Red Ed over there. Somebody
I
has to know.
I could give Danny 5, and he could. I mean, still all right.
We
5,
should do
and I can
100 and put them into like a lottery machine or something, and
yeah.
have it turn it out and just go.
Like one of the air things they had in here the other day.
Yeah.
We can just have someone grab it out. See if Ed can grab it out.
I like that idea.
I wonder if people would enjoy if we took every topic we've already done and then we put that in a randomizer. We did a redraft.
I would get scared about that because I'm sure there are plenty of picks out there that I completely shit on that I actually enjoy or consume.
Barada.
That shows growth, though.
That's true.
Burrata's delicious.
Yeah.
It's great. I
know.
love burrata.
Thank you.
Drizzle a little hot like chili oil on there. Maybe a little honey if you're in
Maybe
for a little
balsamic.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yep.
Still
I
was
don't
not-
identify it with summer though.
No, it's definitely a summer food.
Still was not under the guise of the draft.
No, well, you changed the rules of midstream, so that's fine.
How's everything else, Chaps? You had a tough morning?
No, I didn't have a tough morning.
Oh, you did? I thought.
No.
Why do you think that?
Because of the crumbs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate making a mess for people around me. I like to be in here and do my own thing, clean. I ate a sandwich and I had it all. I mean, it was an abomination. I looked like I had just got out of like a playpen from a nursery school.
Oh.
It was awful.
Now, it's I would say in general, you've been a very good office mate.
I appreciate
Well,
that.
which is saying something because I don't think you've ever been an office mate.
No,
Not
in this way. No,
Yeah. So
Did you ever do the recruiting thing?
no, thank God.
No?
I think that's the worst duty you could get.
Really?
Because you got to suck up to these little bastards all the time, like trying to make them like you and want them to join.
Yeah, but you could also just go to a tailgate and, hey, you want to do pull-ups, son? Like, that's not too bad.
But
guys-
everybody
you-
looks at you like you're a douchebag.
Yeah.
Like every
you
time.
guys never got a call from? I got a call from the Marines when I was like 18.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah. And they were like, well, like, you're a hockey player, so you're obviously very athletic. I'm like, yep, I am.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember, but he's like, we have the best uniform. I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you would probably look great in that. I'm like, you're probably right.
Just gassing you up.
Yeah. So and he's like, chicks love guys in uniforms. I'm like, man, this guy's making a lot of sense right now. So I don't know. I feel like it could be.
The recruiters tell you that, they hype you up, they gas you up, and then you get there, and the drill
They're like,
instructors are like,
fuck you.
Break you down.
fat piece of trash.
Yeah.
You are garbage.
I could use some of that in my life too.
Does that exist?
What's that?
Like a workout regimen where they just ship you off, they put you
Regimen?
through a boot
Yeah,
camp?
actually, because they're struggling with recruiting so much right now, they have like a fat boy program for
Oh.
real, like for fats and dummies, like where you can.
We were talking
Let's
about that in
go.
ZBT.
Heavyweights.
Yeah. So we did an episode of ZBT. There was a program in the 1970s that I really believe that Forrest Gump was a part of, and it's called Project 100,000. And McNamara's morons are what the folks were called, because right when Vietnam was at its height, they needed people, and even with the draft and things like that, they weren't getting enough folks. So they dropped the enlistment requirements so low that you could be like borderline mentally disabled and still get in, like where you couldn't read past like a 4th grade level, and they would try to train you up and put you in a different job that allowed you to be successful, like be a cook. And a lot of them went to the infantry. Their death rates were 3 times higher than everybody
way.
else.
Just meat shields.
Their reclassifications for like new jobs was 10 times higher than every other troop. When they came back from combat, their suicide rates were like 5 times higher.
Oh, wow.
Like all these things that the military did, and they knowingly did it. They knew that it was going to cause like great problems for these people, and they did it under the guise of poverty. Like for people that have low levels of intelligence, low skills, getting them in the military would get them benefits like the GI Bill.
Yeah.
It would get them medical benefits and have them as a part of society, like where they had better jobs, which I could see the logic behind that. Just worked terribly. But then we did it multiple times, even with the lessons learned. We did it in 2007 with...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we did it in 2007 during the height of like Fallujah and Ramadi and like some of the hottest spots in Afghanistan too. They dropped the recruiting standards. That went really poorly. And then we just did it again because the recruiting is struggling. So if the recruiting is struggling, you find dummies and people that normally wouldn't make the cut.
They're saying
and make them make the
paycheck at the end of the road. Not,
Yep.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that kind of sounds like a good idea. At the
It does,
beginning.
right?
Yeah, it
It's
does.
like communism, but on paper it sounds great, but then in actuality it doesn't work.
Yeah, that sounds...
That's terrible.
Damn. Unfortunate it doesn't work because given opportunity, sometimes that's all people need.
And that was, we had the same results in 07 and recently as they did during the Vietnam era.
Yep. So the reclassification standards were in 2007.
What does that mean
bad.
exactly? What does reclassification standard mean?
So like when you join, when the recruiter calls you, they'll have you come on and you'll basically apply for a job. They'll say what's open. Like, do you want to be an aviation electrician? Do you want to be a mechanic on Humvees? What do you want to do? They send you to that school, and if you fail out of that school and you can't pass and meet the standard, then they'll reclassify you, and you'll be able to go to a different job that is easier than the one that you just fell out of.
Flip cheeseburger.
Right. Yes. So the like motor T, like you're going to drive, like you're going to do like things that don't require. And I hate it for people that have those jobs that are like cooks and like, but you guys know that you're a cook.
Frank Costanza was a cook in Korea.
Dummy. Yeah.
yeah. Is it,
Right.
yeah. There's no like Michelin star chefs in the Marines.
No.
No. Okay. Damn. I never knew that.
But how many are those meals you actually doing? Like, I figured you guys are just popping MREs every chance you get.
And really, the cook thing is not like it was in Vietnam. There's like not nearly as many because even the chow halls in America and overseas for the most part, civilians. Like they do it.
Didn't know that.
Didn't know that either.
How difficult is it? So say you're an aviation technician or whatever you were saying earlier. How hard is it to actually fail out? Is it like going to a junior college where you actually have to stop going to fail out, or is it like
no? There's definitely standards
liberal arts
for that. Like for the aviation, electrician, things like that. You have to. I mean, you have to be able to be good enough to wire the plane where it's going to not kill people. Like it's a pretty important part for the military for people to be able to do that
not die and
and
crash.
to drive, like to fly and do all the different things. So they keep those standards pretty high. Like there is going to be people along the way that are going to help you, and they don't want you to fail. So the military does go out of its way to like do remedial training. Like if you can't do it, they're going to have an instructor sit beside you and like try to walk you through it. They give you really every opportunity that you possibly could get to succeed because they want you to succeed.
Right.
They're putting in all that money. They don't get, and the instructors, if you pass more people and they do well, it looks better on you. So you want to get your promotion.
So there's
you want to
incentive
do
there too. Yeah.
right. You want everybody to pass.
I'm surprised you didn't consider more.
I did.
You did?
Yeah. I was already like pot committed in college, but once I heard free college education, when I was staring down the barrel of, 80 grand in student debt, I was like, fuck, that sounds like a good idea. Obviously never matriculated, but I think that if I was telling Chaps this on ZBT like a month back, that if I had the ability to do it all over again, I do think I would have gone the ROTC route at least, for sure.
What's that? You go to the reserves, or you're in the national? What exactly?
Come out
is
like an officer.
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
yeah, that's right. That's right.
You come out an officer. That's
kinda,
what my sister
That's
did.
kind of crazy, no?
Well, you still go to school. Like you don't just go to ROTC and then you're done. You still go to like officer candidate school and you do like your training and things like that. You play Army for a week or two in the summer whenever you're there, and you learn different leadership techniques. And I guess it's good. I don't know. I've never been involved with ROTC, so I don't really have any idea what those fuckers do.
Yeah, but that's wild that someone coming out of West Point is the same status as someone that's in ROTC right out of the gate.
Yeah, they are.
That's pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
The difference is West Point, you don't have to go to OCS. They do have to go to ROTC does.
Right.
What exactly is OCS again?
Officer Candidate School. Oh. So it's where like their initial stuff, West Pointers and military academy folks, they don't have to do that.
Got you.
So OCS, I think in the Marines is like 10 weeks long or something like that. It's the follow-on school, the basic school for us that's a lot longer, like a year.
Cons is doing that rewatch of Band of Brothers. I don't know what episode he's on, but
You just did the Crossroads.
We're actually going to do that with some of the guys in the office too. Whenever Kate has the baby, we're going to do that on ZBT, go through one by one. And then I guess that'll go straight into the new one Masters of Air. So probably when we're done with Band of Brothers, we can go straight
I
into that.
cannot. What, January 26th?
something like
Something
that.
like that. It looks incredible.
I can't
But-
fucking wait for it to come out.
It was like either the last episode or second to last episode. They had like one last patrol, and it was Tom Hanks' son played the guy, but he was like a West Point grad.
They all hated him.
They all hated him. Is there any
that's real.
That's real.
Yeah.
You guys have resentment for?
It's not as
Academy
strong
guys.
in the Marine Corps because we get like Naval Academy folks. Like we will get those people. From what I understand from the Army, there is a big stigma for West Pointers. Cons hates it. Yeah.
I mean, your biggest like walking stereotype is Connor Crehan.
Yeah.
There's a reason. There's a reason that
He's given the
they're
whole academy
detested.
a bad name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say Cons doesn't come off as a typical West Pointer in that way because there's been stories that he's told along the way most West Pointers wouldn't do. Like I think he told a story where he got into like a slap fight, like he went back and forth with one of his guys. That's not a typical West Point thing.
That's a me thing. He's ripping that off of me.
Right. There's certain things that he's done that don't come off as West Pointy to me, but there's other ways that he speaks, like kick rocks. That's a very West Point. Like normal military people be like, suck my dick. And he's like, kick rocks. Like, cuss one time for me, Cons.
When I brought this subject up, I did not mean it to turn into a shitting on Cons thing.
No, I love it. Let's do that.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like every time
I'll do
you're
it
on
for hours.
every time you're on, Cons gets the short
Cons
end.
get some ricochets.
Yeah.
Or directs.
Yeah, directs.
to be clear. What happened with your bike? You got hit by a car?
Yeah, and I got a bone to pick with you fellas, because that same day, you guys had the audacity to come in here and say we should get rid of bike lanes. The day I got hit by a fucking car.
I think that was Ed.
That was definitely
The day.
It was bad timing.
I advocated for an elevated bike lane where you're just more safe.
More 606s. I'm
Yeah. Just
down with the 606.
606 is great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Great for the bikers.
I go up there and I just cruise in and out.
I like how the tires feel on the rubber up there.
Oh, yeah.
It's like smoother. It's
nice.
Makes it for a better ride, Ed.
But, well, how get into? Have you talked about it much yet? How did it happen? I saw your blog. I read your
So
blog.
what happened? I was riding down right here on Damon. I was going to Damon right before where that Costco is that you're going over the little road. You see it on that road, and pretty solid bike lane there. It was in the morning. Normally there's not that many cars that I'm like going by. So I'm going by and I was going fast. Like I'm going like 30 in the bike lane, fast as shit. Passing all these cars and I love it. Smile the whole time because I'm like, fuck these idiots waiting for a red light. Got their asses.
Couldn't be me.
Every day I'm so happy when I do it. Well, I'm cruising along. There's no, like, you can kind of see in people's side mirrors, because that's one of my biggest fears is getting doored. Like right when I'm going by, somebody opened the door and you just hit the door jam and you're fucked because it's so solid. It's not giving away. It's not doing
You're
anything.
flying over that door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm in the bike lane flying, and for some reason, I guess the guy was trying to park, like, where there's be like 4 or 5 parking spots in a row where he's not going to back in. He just cruises over into the bike lane, and it's a real sharp turn. Like he's going to go park. My front tire hit the wheel well, and as soon as that happened, like I fly over the handlebars, over his hood, essentially.
That's like out of a movie.
Tuck
You're
my
lucky
shoulder.
to be alive.
Dude, I tucked my shoulder, and if I didn't, I think my shoulder would have detached from my body.
Did you land on your feet?
No, fuck no. I
that'd have been so
landed on my
badass.
side, like on my shoulder.
Roll into it, like barrel
No,
roll
I think I
into
landed like this. And then I popped up, and right after I had fallen, another bike had smashed into the back of my bike. Like they had came and smashed, and it was this smaller woman. She was on an e-bike too, not going nearly as fast, but she was like really like hysterical, like crying and really up. She's like, I'm not hurt, I'm just very scared. And I was like, I understand. And the dude, I felt like I had to comfort the person who ran into the back of me and the person who hit me from in front, because the guy that was driving was super upset too. Like he was like so apologetic, over the top. It's like, I'm fine. And I ended up riding the bike all the way in here to work. And I called my wife. I was like, oddly, I'm not even that sore. Like I feel fine. Like I'm scratched up, scraped up. But other than that, I feel good. And then I sat on the couch where I just put a bunch of crumbs. I sat on the couch for like an hour, and I got up and I was like, nope, I need to go home. I'm way too old for this shit. The next morning, dude, my wife was up before me, like 5 minutes before me. And she said that she heard me when my eyes open, or were about to open. I just go, ow. Just getting out of bed. I was like, fuck.
Just lifting the covers off.
And like starting to stretch out like I was in the bullpen, like, and I had been sitting in the bullpen for 100 years. And so I start walking down the stairs and I'm like, I'm not going to work today.
Nope.
There's just no chance I could get there.
But the craziest part, I assume you guys didn't see the blog.
I did not.
I saw the headline. I'm sorry.
Well, what
I would have
happened with
clicked
your
on it if
phone?
I saw it.
Yeah, so I slammed in. You're going 30 miles an hour, and you come to a complete abrupt stop. And I had my AirPods in still, and I could hear like dialing out from my phone in my ear. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I'm not calling anyone. Who's calling me is what I originally thought. And I looked down, and the screen on my phone said SOS. And iPhone automatically was calling 911 because of how fast I had stopped.
That's
Wow.
actually pretty sweet. Good
I
on
know,
Elon.
I had no
'cause if you were,
idea.
like,
Good on Apple.
If you
Rather.
had been unconscious or something, you
Yeah,
still
like it
would've got-
turns on your GPS automatically, where they could get like a signal of where you're going to be. Crazy. It's awesome though.
It is.
Yeah,
it's a
that's-
good feature.
Because if I had my head ran over or something like that, people need to know.
Yeah. Putting Life Alert out of business, though.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
other
Oh,
the
yeah.
other lady was all right though.
Yeah.
Everybody walked away.
She was wearing like leggings and like workout gear. Wasn't like a scratch on her, but she was hysterical.
And the other guy,
It's rattling.
How long did it take him to calm down, thinking that he was going to like?
He was still he was standing when I was like rolling away after it was all like over. He was still like touching his head. He was going through it.
Dude, that has to be. I think I'd rather be you than him.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah. And the next day probably not. He probably went to lunch and forgot about it.
Yeah.
I'm still a little sore.
Oh
his
no, he
car
was shitting
like?
his pants for a minute.
Yeah, his car had a big dent because my bike is heavy.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it's solid.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
a tank.
It's like a little mini motorcycle
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. It's heavy as hell. Like even pulling
Those
it up
tires
my
are
stairs,
fat.
tires
Yeah.
are fat. The little wheel well had like a big dent in it, but my bike was totally fine. Had to tighten up the brakes and that was it.
Hey, let's take a second to talk about Game Time here. You guys know about Game Time. You shouldn't have to worry when you're out there buying tickets for your big next event because Game Time's there for you. If you haven't downloaded this app by now, I don't know what you've been doing.
You're a knucklehead.
Yeah, I don't
You're a
know what you've been
knucklehead.
doing. I mean, Dave, you've definitely taken advantage of Game Time.
Oh, yeah.
Because you tell us some of the events that you've been to that you're looking forward to as
This
well.
summer via Game Time, Dead & Co. with John Mayer, as Nikki Smokes would say. I saw Slightly Stupid. I saw the Marcus King Band. I saw a bunch of bands. I saw Slipknot. I saw the Insane Clown Posse. Various sporting events, obviously. But like we said, we can go see Wicked together for our birthdays this month.
We can. I saw Chevy Chase is at the Chicago Theater in November.
I heard he's hilarious.
Kind of interested in
I
that.
am very interested.
Kind of interested in that. Game Time just looked it up. It's going for $66. Not bad to see a comedy legend.
Yeah.
So listen, go on there, download the Game Time app, go to the website. They got last minute deals on tickets. They got the flash deals, the zone deals. It's easy to save money on the tickets you thought you could never buy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code MID for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code MID for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, let's continue on here. Damn. But well, when I got in that day, you were like getting under the hood, and I just walk in. I was like, oh, like he's making some revisions. Maybe he's putting a baseball card in there. Like he's doing some cool to his bike. I was like, oh, nice, Chaps, getting under the
souping up
hood.
your bike? Yeah.
He just looks up to me and goes, no, I got hit by a car. I was like, oh, sorry.
you
So
did
I
have-
tell you that, and your first thought was, you know what? I need to go talk about how we need less bike lanes in this city.
No, that podcast was recorded the day prior.
I don't believe that
think
for
that's
1 minute.
true.
Yeah,
And it
we're
aired
gonna-
that. What day did you get hit by a car?
It's hard to say. What day did you record?
We record on Tuesdays, and it airs on Wednesdays.
Nope, that's not true. Oh, is that a dog walk?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm not sure what day it was. They're all blending together post.
Well, you probably got a
I will-
concussion.
I will say I was fucking nervous to ride again.
I bet.
Like the next day.
PTSD from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I had been going so fast and I found myself going like 20 miles an hour instead of 30. I'm back to 30.
And,
now.
listen,
It lasted
Do you
like one
think
day.
oddly that being in regular traffic might be safer than being in the bike lane? Because you don't have to worry about car doors. You don't have to worry about.
Yeah, it is. And nobody really goes faster than 30 on the streets here in
Yeah.
the city anyway. So like if it's wide open, I ride like in there. But then as soon as there's a backup in regular traffic, I'm back into the
Scoot.
bike lane
Yeah.
going past everybody.
What kind of car hit you, or did you hit?
I don't know. A small little sedan. I wasn't paying attention.
It wasn't
that
like
much.
a nice.
No, it was like a
$80,000 Beamer
probably like a
Mercedes.
Hyundai, something like that.
And listen, it's not that I'm against bike lanes. I just think that we as a society have we've better architecture now where we don't need to concrete off these bike
They
lanes.
were just painting the new one out there.
You know, like there's got to be some type of retractable way where we live in a cold weather city where cold weather months you just pop those suckers down and we can.
I think that's a pretty good idea.
I don't. I'm looking forward to riding in the winter.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
I saw you squirming about the weather 2 days ago.
you were.
I didn't squirm.
You were
I didn't have
squirming.
nary a squirm.
I read the
squirmed
text.
a
I
little
didn't
bit.
squirm a single squirm.
Yes,
I
you
didn't
did.
even begin to squirm.
You're a little squirmy.
Why do you guys?
What? Because I
missed
because
this.
I said the heater? Because I said
You said this is wild. That's a little
it
squirm.
is wild. Like comparatively to where I've lived my entire life, having to turn the heat on October 7th is wild.
That
doesn't mean that I'm
That's
still
SOP for
39
us.
degrees this morning. Who rode their bike in?
And you said,
Me.
39 is
39 is
nice.
nothing.
I
It's
agree.
nothing.
You
And I
said-
was totally fine.
I'm scared for the coming months.
Yeah.
So you did like a pre-squirm.
Yeah, you did a little
No,
squirm.
I'm not pre-squirming. I'm gonna do it. I'll ride when that bitch is fucking -20, just to make it.
I don't think you will. I used to ride a bike
That
way
beer's gonna
shorter
be
than
icily
that.
as fuck.
I do love that I got a regular motorcycle helmet for my bike, which makes me feel like a douchebag whenever I'm riding it. But it keeps the wind totally off your face.
You
it's
gotta
like
get
I'm
gloves,
riding in
though,
my
too.
living room.
You gotta get gloves too.
I got them.
Okay.
They
Dude, those
came
are
in the
no
mail
joke.
yesterday.
You can get your head run over by a car and you would still be okay, most
Yeah.
likely. That's what that pitcher did. Matt Bush.
I don't know about
He
this.
got his head ran over.
No, he was like, he was the number 1 pick by the Rays, and like he came back and like he was like out of the league for like 10 years, and he came back and like kind of had a redemption story. When he was like going through his downswing, he ran over a guy's head.
That's not something.
The guy was
that
fine?
Sounds like fun.
Yes, he was in a helmet, and the guy was fine.
That's
Like,
fucking
Isn't that
insane.
It's insane.
That is insane.
Yeah.
I don't know if my helmet if I can get my head ran over. I don't want to put it to the test,
Let's not try it.
but I think it's pretty good.
I'd like
I
to
will
see
write
it.
the worst Yelp
It'd
review
be
for
fine
them.
at least 3/4 of the way through getting run over.
If you get your head squashed and that bike helmet didn't save you, I will write a negative review.
If I could,
Thank
promise.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
at least a 2-star.
Yeah, and bad tweets too. I'll come after them.
Oh wow.
Well, it's
there-
a fly-by-night company on Amazon, so I don't know if they're going to have anybody in customer service, but I appreciate it.
Okay.
if there was 100% no way your head would squish, would you do it?
If I knew I was going to be uninjured,
Yeah,
of course.
because I'd like to see
Bring a
that.
semi
I don't
truck.
think you can promise. Yeah.
I'd like to just wheel you under there with a skateboard, go over it, you take it off, and like hear the story, hear the
I
tale.
think I've read that if you got ran over and it's fast enough, you're fine. Like, because the pressure's not there that long. Right?
So it'd be
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I'd rather get run over than like stepped on by an elephant or something.
If you're getting ran over, I'd rather get ran over at like 120 miles an hour. Like they're going to run over my leg, and I just have to put my leg out in the middle of the street. Do you want to get hit at 100 miles an hour or at 2 miles an hour? Give me 100, because it's just like boom, right over.
Yeah.
I feel like you would have some.
Be a slow burn.
Well, it'd be like more structural damage though too. I bet you at 100. You know, like you're tearing ligaments. Maybe you pop some blood vessels in
No,
there.
I don't even know if you notice it.
What's your
I
price?
feel like you could get like hockey pucks and baseballs can like break your arm.
Yeah,
break
but that's
your leg.
impact. I think you would have less direct impact if you were going fast.
All right, let's try it out.
What's my price?
Well, no. What's your price? If you've seen those stories where someone's like about to get hit by a train and they just like they lay in the middle and the train just goes over them.
like Breaking Bad.
What's your price to attempt that?
Do I get to sit underneath the train at first to make sure that it doesn't hit me?
No, like
I just have to trust.
but like they will say if you move an inch, you're in a hairy territory.
An inch is tough.
Yeah, but you're like you could pencil it. They're like it will not.
Could they
hit
tie
you.
me down?
No,
I'd be worried about like my toes.
Yeah, I'd be worried about.
but you're good. You just can't move.
It'd have to be a lot, because I think you would move.
Yeah, I would think you would move without even really noticing. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like you move your toe, your foot.
I don't think you
cocks out
move
a
if you're on your belly though. You could just grip the track.
Yeah, maybe belly. I would do it.
Yeah.
Belly down.
Don't
Have
you
you
want?
guys
Don't
seen
you
those-
want to be face up though in that experience?
do.
You want to see.
You
want
want to see what's going on. Yeah, it's kind of like getting a tattoo, or like whenever. Have you ever had your ingrown toenail removed?
No.
You know, they like take that shot,
Danny,
the Novocaine.
Oh, can't say I have.
They take the Novocaine and is that what it's called, Novocaine?
Yeah.
Or is
Something.
that just for teeth?
That's for mouth, I think.
I think
Yeah,
it's.
I don't know.
I think
It's
it's,
some
just
kind
a
of
local
anesthesia.
Either
Yeah.
way, toe
juice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
toe juice. And they go right in between the crease of if this is your big toe, right in the crease of it. That's where they do one shot, and then they go all the way around the base of it. And I love watching myself get shots or like tattoos or something like that. And then they wait for it to go numb. And they take the razor blade and go right down the middle of your toenail. And then they just pull it and peel it off.
So
It is fascinating to
I've-
watch it happen to yourself.
I'm
'Cause you're like,
getting-
how does this not hurt?
yeah, so I've had a wrist surgery and a knee surgery where they just did a local, and then you have like a, what do they call that, arthroscopic, like, and they're watching it up on the screen, all the shit that they're doing, and like that to me, I thought that was cool, that was fine. What you're describing, well, they gave me too much, and I was like hitting on the nurse like relentlessly until they
horny,
I was very horny, but like that toenail thing sounds a lot worse than what they did to like I wouldn't want to look at my toenail get ripped off. You want to suck some cartilage out of my wrist? I never knew it was there to begin with. I was fine with that. That sounds gross. That
I've
makes me want
needed
to
it
puke.
done, and I've never got it done. But I've heard it's an alarming amount of toenail that's stuck into the side of your toe.
Oh yeah, it's a lot, and it's fascinating to watch them do it.
Yeah, but
Because they're like pulling it out, and you're like, "That's got to be the end." Mother of God, how is it continuing to come?
Is it painful before you have the operation?
Yeah.
So how did you just not have it done then?
you just tough it out.
And then what? It goes away?
Yeah, eventually.
There's certain parts right there. If you cut it right, you can wait a little while, and it'll like. Oddly enough, I think you can do a little triangle in the middle of your top of your toenail, and it'll naturally like grow to try to close that gap.
Really? Interesting.
And you could do it that way, but it's way. You're just gonna have them keep coming back and back and back.
See,
if
that's
you don't
what
get
happened.
It,
I
dig it
never-
dug out.
Should we try digging for Eddie's ingrown toenail right now?
Do it with the steak
Still
knife.
in there.
Nope.
Just go in there and dig through and pull it out.
Dave, mango that thing.
Toe knife.
I'm a pussy. Like I don't
like.
I would need to get it professionally. I can't. Like people have said, like yo, if like I'll like my mom can like take care of it for you, and I'm like I don't.
Go
think
get a pedicure.
I got my first one a couple months ago. Actually,
Nice.
Did they do
was
it?
nice.
All,
They didn't do it,
All
no.
11
Did
toenails.
they did you?
My feet.
Yeah.
She the first place I walked into a European place once at the beginning.
Fancy.
And I swear, one of the ladies, it wasn't a worker, but one of the ladies who walked in, I was wearing flip flops. She just, like did one of those when she saw my feet. And then they were like, so we're on an appointment. So I went to a different place and they were very nice and friendly.
You must have some mangled feet if they did that at a feet place.
It was just,
If they're taking it back, that's a problem.
it wasn't
was
the
a
worker.
patron,
It
you
was
said.
a patron.
Grab the chainsaw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It
Oh,
wasn't
that you
like,
can't do that.
yeah, it was a woman who was in the chair.
How old?
Old bat.
Oh,
What a bitch.
Yeah, she was just,
What a piece
Yeah.
call
of
her a
shit.
bitch, Ed.
she was a bitch, dude.
Yeah, she
She was a fucking bitch.
Not a fan.
Did
of
you
her,
feel
dude.
bad about yourself after that? Or did it bring you
I
down?
laughed. Like sometimes when people are like completely repulsed by you, it's kind of funny.
It has to, it's like I
laugh
think
to
it's
keep from crying.
it's better than being moderately repulsed by you.
Like
What
when
do you
people
mean?
are repulsed by your shaved face.
Yeah, they were.
At some point, at some point we're like,
That was hurtful. That one was hurtful. Because I knew I looked bad. Like whenever it happened, whenever I got creamed in New York, I knew I looked bad. But then Portnoy not making fun of me directly, like and just being like, no, it looks really good, and being real subtle. I knew how bad it. If Dave is being kind of nice about it, I knew how bad
Gotta
it
be
looked.
bad.
Yeah.
Would you ever do it again?
Yeah, because I've lost weight.
Oh.
Yeah, so I
okay.
had the turkey, like little gobbler, is what made it bad.
Yeah.
Like going from
Been
having
there.
a beard for 10 years
Yeah.
to get rid of it and having the turkey gobbler on display.
do you not remember what it looked like?
Oh,
Chaps?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember.
Oh,
It was
okay.
burned. Yeah.
It doesn't help. You're giving the it's Pat face.
I
Yeah.
know.
You
I look
know,
like a
like-
turtle.
Yeah.
Someone called you an Adult Swim character.
That one's bad. And the Liz Gonzalez sweater picture from where me, K. Marco, and Feidelberg
Is that
went
the
out.
Super Bowl or something?
No, it was that. So I had just came up from Texas, and it was like a colder night in New York. So I was wearing like a jacket, and then I had a really thick wool vest on underneath, like wool sweater. And so I was hot as shit in this restaurant. I think it was Italian Meats is the restaurant in New York. And it was so hot in there, dude. And I had been wearing a jacket. We were sitting by the kitchen, and I was just getting progressively more and more hot. And my hair, it was when I was trying to hold on where I was going bald, but I didn't want to admit it to myself. So my hair's like all matted, and I'm just feeling all hot and
think I
emotional.
remember this
with
one.
meat sweats and shit.
I've seen it.
And they're like,
It's
"Do you want to
not
take a
the-
picture?" And I'm like, "Sure."
Do we find that one? Is that possible?
It's not.
I think
the
I
most
wrote a blog
flattering
called "I'm a
pitch.
Fat Piece of Shit."
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah. Why did I think that was the Super Bowl? I remember the picture.
No, it was at Italian Meats, Dave. He still remembers the place.
yeah, delicious by the way.
Italian Meats.
Fat
Oh, man.
piece
Could
of
do without
shit.
the whole Italian part of it.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
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 Look how greasy I look.
Yeah, I
My
think that
God.
you're greasier than that. Yeah, that's. It must have been hot in there, dude. Fuck
Because
that
I'm wearing a
place.
long sleeve shirt, and then I got that.
You're
hood on.
layered up.
Yeah, and I'm like bringing. Look at I had smashed that entire plate of rigatoni, and I just remember being like, "God damn, I got the meat sweats too. Look how terrible I look."
How much you lost since then?
Probably 40 pounds.
Oh, wow.
I was 230-ish there, 240, and now I weigh like 190, 195.
Damn. Good for you.
People always still call me fat. I'm like, I wear a 33 waist, my friend.
That happens to Dave a lot too.
It's actually died down. I haven't gotten called fat in a long time.
I know, but I'm just saying. Even
It lasted for a while though.
Did you do anything in particular?
Yeah, I started taking antidepressants. So.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
All right.
I just
Add
did
that
the
to the
Peloton like 20, 30 minutes
Anybody
every
get some
couple days.
Lamictal on their hands, it's better than that Ozempic shit.
Real
Okay.
old school.
People thought I took that, and I
Ozempic?
never heard of it.
Ozempic?
Yeah.
Doesn't that give you like vicious and unrelenting diarrhea?
I no,
That's
wasn't
one of the
even
side
a-
effects.
I wasn't even around when you thinned out. I feel like Ozempic's like a new fad.
Yeah.
I know that's what everyone's like.
Can you
Oh
buy
my
it over
god!
the counter?
Is
I
it?
don't
Ozempic?
think so.
Is it like
Yeah.
hydroxycut? You can get that
No,
anywhere.
no.
No,
you
it's
gotta
like
inject
this
this
is an
shit, dude.
injection into your leg.
Oh,
But
They-
isn't
they-
there like
okay.
an over-the-counter kind now?
maybe
I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's worked for some of my neighbors. One of my neighbors down like 120 pounds on
Holy
that.
shit.
Well, it wasn't. It was supposed to be like a diabetes drug, and then they, like through the trials, are like, oh, it's actually great for weight loss.
Yeah.
So,
But they like don't know if your bones lose density. There's a
I
lot.
think they do. It's like your muscle density, your bone density. Like it's.
They don't know.
But don't you weigh like the differences? Like sure, I'm gonna have a little less dense bones,
Yes.
but
Instead
also
of heart
being
disease.
like,
Yes.
yeah, right. So you gotta find
That
like, well, I don't
balance.
want to live that much longer. I'd rather have thick bones.
Pick your poison. Ozempic side effects.
Diarrhea, abdominal pain, constipation.
Constipated diarrhea is fucking brutal.
How can it be both?
Yeah, that sounds kind of like an oxymoron.
It just sounds like a terrible experience.
When the floodgates open.
Hypoglycemia. What's hypoglycemia?
Too much sugar.
Okay. Yep. That makes sense, Dave. That's like some Latin shit you just
Yeah,
pulled.
I did.
Come on, Chief.
Like you knew that?
Changes in
Okay.
vision. What's that mean?
Pancreatitis.
Sometimes
that
you
be
can see
great.
far. Sometimes you can see close.
It was a joke.
I think you can buy it over the counter.
Google that
Like
too.
there's a
No, it
type
says
of it that you can.
need a subscription. I can look up like maybe a more general time.
A subscription. You just sign up. You get the free month trial.
Today's Ozempic is brought to you by our good friends at.
Ozempic. All right, Uncle Chaps. It was fun chopping it up with you, pal.
Yeah, it was fun with you guys too.
Yeah. We're going to talk about some Chicago sports.
And how the Jacksonville Jaguars completely fucking blow.
Don't say that. Why would you say that? That's not a good way to end.
Jaguars.
We
You're right.
have
That was uncouth of me.
we have the Colts. We beat the Colts for 4-2. We're cruising.
Yeah.
Cruising.
Jags look good.
This is the first game that they looked okay.
Yeah.
Even their
The
win
London
week
game.
1 was not great. Trevor looked better. A lot of people said it was his best game, like the analyst did. I don't think so.
Ever? His best game ever?
His best game as a pro. You can't do that with 2 turnovers in the red zone. You
Yeah.
have 2 fumbles in the red zone.
He's a good quarterback.
Do you,
though.
sorry, I know but one last question. Do you are you chopping it up with any lads from London?
What do you mean?
Is that actually working, like the London fan base thing?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, because when you look at every single announcer, whenever they play, they're like, we saw 30 different uniforms when
Yeah.
we came in.
I have a
But
buddy who lives
it is
there.
a big advantage, though. Like being there for a full last week
Oh,
before
yeah.
everybody else, that's a big advantage.
But it's usually the team you play, they like flood the stadium. Like it was all Bills
That's what I
fans.
heard. It
that was
all,
Bills fans.
It was
yeah.
all
But Bills
fans.
fans are, like, even in Jacksonville, if you play the Bills, if you play the Steelers, they have big
International.
travel.
Yeah, they travel.
Yeah, like those that families have been fans of those teams forever. Even in Jacksonville, they sell a lot of tickets.
There's 2 Buffalo Bills bars in Chicago that are always slammed.
Bills always have a big presence. So when they went to London, there was they had to put extra flights from that area, Western New York, to London, in connections because so many people were going. The entire flights were filled with Bills fans.
No shit.
Yeah.
All right, then. Good luck. Be safe riding home today.
Thank you.
Watch out for those doors.
Yeah. It wasn't a door that got him, but
I saw that happen once.
watch out for people like Eddie
it was
who
actually very scary.
are praying for your demise.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you to Uncle Chaps for coming in. Before we continue on and talk about Connor Bedard and the Blackhawks happenings, I want to talk about a classic that's been with us forever that I'm sure Connor Bedard is going to get familiar with, and that's Portillos.
Oh, it's the absolute best.
Yes.
I hope that he's got a mentor on this team that knows his way about town and knows to take him to Portillos.
Who's that kid from Wilmette?
Vlasic.
Vlasic knows all about Portillos.
He probably put some pickles
I would
on those.
hope to God that Vlasic is chauffeuring around Connor Bedard around Chicago to show him all the best.
I think that makes some
Portillo
sense.
locations.
Come on down. Let's go to the Ontario one because I'm sure they live down there. Maybe they want to go to the one on Taylor Street.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of options over there, a little closer to the rink.
Yep.
A lot of Portillos are all over the
You
place.
can get
now.
them
big time.
delivered.
Yeah, and they're on
Yeah.
they're on the delivery app. So
Yeah.
go look out Portillos. I mean,
You should go back to giving athletes a beef.
That's what I was just
Yeah.
about
We
to
should
say.
do that.
We
We
should.
should do that.
Yeah.
should start giving
I'd like to
beefs.
give Peter Mrazek a beef.
Yeah, what a
because
game by
he was
Peter Mrazek.
fantastic
He
last night.
looked like, who was that guy from the 90s?
Ed Belfour, Dominic Hasek.
Hasek.
Okay.
Eastern European.
Yeah, yeah, same country. They're
did.
both from Czech Republic.
Yeah.
So
See?
yeah,
Credit
but
to
that's.
Ed.
I mean, it is beef season now too. I feel like the fall, the crisp air. You want a little something warm. You want to stop through that drive-through, get that Portillo's beef. We've talked
Cheese
about the
fries.
burgers, the crinkle cut fry. I feel like the crinkle cut fry was made for cheese fries. Like they just gets in those
Hey, you
little
want to hear a little
crevices.
fun fact?
Sure.
You know when you buy like nice pasta, how it's all
Yeah.
coarse and textury. It creates more surface area on the noodle.
Yep.
And it sticks to, like, if you buy shitty bad pasta, it just slips right off the sauce.
Yeah.
That's why crinkle cut fries, same principle.
Yeah.
Just
definitely.
soaks in that.
Absolutely. Gets in the
Ketchup,
crevices.
cheese.
Yeah.
Food science, Dave.
Yep.
Good job.
Yep.
And you know what? I like their cheese is awesome, but I like their crinkle cut fries so much. I don't think it needs cheese sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes the cheese is so good it doesn't even need fries.
Sure.
Just eat it like soup.
Drink that stuff.
Or
Yeah.
if you're looking to go salad route, you can get a good old chopped salad.
Chop
you
salads
could.
are
It's
money.
it's money.
Dude, honestly, we could just do a whole pot of Portillos. I swear.
We should do
We should
one.
get
We should do
DTP
one
in and
remote.
really do it.
And we'll just sit there, take turns eating and
And
talking.
just talk
Yeah.
about
He basically revolutionized the
Dice.
assembly line in food form.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
yeah.
Dissect it all.
Yeah.
Visit your local Portillos or go to Portillos.com to order your Chicago dog for pickup or delivery. Portillos. It always sounds good. All right. So we're recording on Wednesday, so the Hawks have not played their second game yet. They've only played their opener against Pittsburgh. They won 4-2.
4 unanswered goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buzzing? How are we feeling?
I'm kind of more interested in how you guys are feeling, actually.
I will take that from right here.
Okay.
I think that team, from my novice eye, was exceptionally less talented than the Pittsburgh Penguins. However, I think that the team played like they were giving a middle finger to all the people like you who said they were going to stink.
They are going to stink. They're going to stink.
That team played like a team that's not going to completely stink. That team looked like they were they were playing with edge last night.
Yeah, no, look, they're going to be a team that works hard, plays smart. They got good veterans, smart veterans. They have a ton of young players. They're not going to be like, like the Chicklets boys. Oh, it's a point night. It's a point night. You're playing one of these, like put up numbers for your next contract. It's not going to be like that. They're going to make you work for it. And, the Hawks, Pittsburgh's a slow. They're the oldest team in the league. They're a little bit slow, but they did retool trying to get to the playoffs. Like they wanted to win that game last night. Obviously, home opener, all that, but that's one that they probably had chalked up for 2 points. The Hawks just outworked them. They outworked them. They're a team that's going to work hard, and they have enough and they have some speed. Like Anthony Cia's, he can fly. Reichel can really skate. Their D can all really skate except for Tenorti. Like it's just like you need I think Vegas set the over-under for points at 71.5 for the Hawks. Last year, I think they finished with 59.
You said it was something like that.
I think their ceiling is like 80, and that's probably 12 points away from a playoff spot, which is significant. So, like, they're not a playoff team, but they're going to be a team worth watching every night because they're going to work hard, they're going to play smart, and they have, you know, some super skilled guys.
Come March, I don't think anybody's going to want to play them.
Well, it'll probably be the opposite, because I think come March is they're probably going to trade Perry. They'll probably trade Foligno. They'll probably look to move some of these veteran guys out, and they'll be younger because they'll call up maybe Eddie's best friend Oliver Moore and maybe Frank Nazar. But they're gonna be a tough team to play against all night. And you know, they I think they were second in the league last year with come from behind wins, and we saw it again last night. It's because they commit to their style of play and their structure, and then they have some guys who can make plays. So when I said their ceiling is like 80 points or something like that, if they get goaltending, like, you know, very good goaltending, which they did not really get too much of last year, then like that 80 point threshold is probably attainable. It's just you're going to be picking 10 to 12th and you're just not a playoff team, but you're not embarrassing. What?
This guy doesn't have any hope.
Yeah, let's do it, Dave. Let's just talk about how they should have hope. Let's just talk about
I think that could be a playoff team.
Let's just do it.
Here's the other. All right. Here's the thing with how they could be a playoff team.
10 wins, Chiefy.
I'm clearly
Floor.
joking.
Yeah.
50 wins the floor. Tell them, Dave.
All right. If the Bears go on a run, I don't want to hear a thing out of you.
I think that I probably watched in totality 15 games last year of the Blackhawks, and maybe I went to like 4 of those games, and that team was like.
Yeah,
I can't watch this.
Made you want to puke.
Last night, I don't know if it was because it's opening night, if that's going to taper off or anything. I'm like, this team plays like animals.
They did add more guys than I anticipated.
What do you mean?
Like, I was obviously following along in the offseason, but it took me until turning on the game yesterday to be like, oh, forgot we had Taylor Hall. Forgot we had Foligno.
Yeah.
Forgot we had, who did you just name they're going to move? Oh, forgot we had Corey Perry.
Yeah.
All those guys are like, oh, like, we actually have some dudes this year. And I know a lot of them are in various stages of their career and whatnot.
Yeah.
But we did add that. I'm not agreeing with Dave at all.
Right.
But
here's an example of how much better the team is on paper this right now than last year. Dickinson, who was on the team last year, had a long stretch of games where he was centering Patrick Kane's line. He's on the 4th line last night with Perry and Foligno. So that's like a veteran. That's a 4th line of guys that you can trust that aren't going to fuck things up and that are going to be hard to play against. They're just old and slow, but they know how to play. So you can probably play teams to like a standstill with those guys if you get the matchups right.
So, like, all right, then question, not being overly optimistic, but is there a chance, like, with guys like that on this roster, they get a little Cubsy?
What do you mean?
Like, they kind of like have a Cubsy roster almost. Like, the Cubs is more talented, I'd say.
Yeah, well, like, Bellinger, Bellinger's 28, Perry's 38. You know, like that's
a difference.
Yeah.
Like, what about how old's Tyler Johnson now?
Old, 32, but like he's been bad for like a while.
Yeah.
And I kind of think like, so Kurashev, if you guys remember that name from last year, he started the year on IR. He's going to be out for like 3 weeks or something. He's going to find his way into that top 9, and I think that the most logical guy to kind of take out of the lineup would probably be Tyler Johnson. And maybe you bump him down to the 3rd line, and it's Johnson comes in and Boris Kachuk, although I thought Boris Kachuk played pretty well last night. He had a big play on that. I think it was a game-tying goal, the Gutman goal. He had a very nice, smart play. I've never seen him make a smart play before. He had a very good play in that game. So they have some pieces. Like, Taylor Radish is not a terrible player. Cole Gutman looks like a pretty nice player, like a depth player.
There's a chance they're Redsy, not Cubsy.
Yeah, so I think next year is when they're actually Redsy. Because they're like, when I did the spaces last night. People are talking about like, well, what's the timeline and blah blah blah. It's like, well, or is it like the 14 or 15 Cubs or the 15 Cubs? Like, no, like it's not, because the guys who are going to be very important to when this team is really trying to win, the only one of those guys that are there, well, I shouldn't say that, but up front they have Bedard and Reichel, and on the back end they played 3 rookies. But Frank Nazar is going to be a piece when this team is good. Oliver Moore is going to be a piece when this team is good. Neither one of those guys even went to training camp. They just went to college.
Where's Nazar go?
Michigan. He had 2 goals the first weekend.
And then Moore's in Minnesota.
He had a snipe his first game against Bemidji State. And then you have, the defense I thought last night looked really good. Vlasic, he's 6'6". He's like a perfect kind of stay-at-home defenseman. He was involved on the goal. Like, he kind of knows how to play. He's not an overly skilled guy, but he's a perfect partner for Seth Jones. And Korchinski looks like, you said you noticed him.
I don't know if I'm using this, but he just kept poking the puck away.
Yeah, like and
forechecking that.
Yeah, well,
it
wasn't
poke checking,
not forechecking, poke checking. But yeah, he's a great skater, great offensive player. He's got to get better defensively, but I thought he looked like he belonged last night too. And then Kaiser, I think, is the best all around of that bunch.
I think you might get brought way down to reality after tonight's game, Dave.
I have said it a few times. I'm joking.
I think this is a time. Boston lost a ton.
Yeah.
They lost Taylor Hall. They lost Bergeron. They lost Krejci. They brought in JVR, who hasn't been good in a while. Lucic, who's basically
he's 40,
Corey Perry.
Yeah.
The same type of thing. And they lost Foligno, who's part of their leadership group. They're gonna take some. I think they'll probably make the playoffs still, because McAvoy and Pasternak, like, they still have like some elite players in their prime. And they've got a great coach, but they're going to take some time to gel. And it's like, you don't lose a guy like Patrice Bergeron and who's so important to that organization. He's been there for 20 years, the captain, all situations, best defensive center maybe ever. And you're not just going to pick up and win the East again or win the President's Trophy again. Like, it's just not going to happen. So the Hawks,
now's the time to get them.
Yeah, now it's kind of like a good time to get them, and they're going to have a chance to win every night. Like, it's not a coin flip, like you would say, like, oh, is this like a coin flip game? It's not a coin flip game, but it's not like they could play anybody, and I would not be surprised if they won a game. And that was definitely not the case last year, where it's like, that's a loss, and it was a chore to watch them. This year, they're going to be fun to watch. Like, they're going to be, all I care about is work hard, play smart, and then give me a few like moments of wow, then I'm good. And last night exceeded expectations.
On that note, you said Mrazek kind of stole the show last night. I'd agree. And I had this thought going on in my head, and I didn't want to look up the exact numbers because I wanted to see if my eye told me correctly, and I wanted to ask you about it, but it seemed like this what goes into why I said it looked like the Penguins had just way better hockey players on the ice at this time, because it seemed like the puck was almost always, because I watched second half of the first period, all the second period, and all the third period. All the second period and the first half of the third period, it looked like it was constantly in the Hawk zone, forcing Mrazek to be like,
no, I actually don't agree with that. I thought that was an even game basically the entire time. I really did. Like, the shots were about even. I thought that Bedard line, for Bedard, he's going to have to work on his face-offs a little bit. But all young players struggle when they come in the league. All young centers struggle.
Is that a physical thing, or
it's like mental timing? But some of it's just like, you're going up against a guy who's just been doing it a long time, and he has man strength, and he's still got boy strength. And
he got bullied in the front of the crease a few times.
But that's not where he's going to live. But I thought he was there, which is more important. Like, but he's not going to be a top of the crease kind of guy. But he was in the right spots offensively. But what I was going to say, I lost my train of thought there. Oh, for a team that never really won a face-off, or a line that never really won a face-off, Hall, Donato, Bedard, that line was dominant. Like, they had the majority of the puck. I think Bedard had like 9 shots.
More. He had 11 at one point.
I think it was 11 shot attempts.
On goal. Okay.
Yeah, like he was that line really dictated and controlled the play way more than I thought they would.
I mean, night and day from last year's season opener.
I don't even remember what happened last year.
Wasn't that the the Avalanche game where I think they had 17 shots on goal, maybe like the whole game or something. It was like disgusting.
Well, and then I watched the Preds versus the Lightning, which was on. They had a 4:30 puck drop right before the Hawks. They did like a triple header on ESPN, and it was like the Preds are bad. Like I think the shots in the first period of that game were 17-2, and I was like, oh man, like I was all hyped up for hockey season, and then the Preds like. Transitive. I'm watching them struggle. I'm like, oh no, this is gonna be us. Like this is gonna be us.
I laughed at the stick thing too.
What was the stick thing?
Well, like
everybody thought that.
He said that was by design.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
He kind of played it off pretty. It seemed authentic in his answer where he left it behind the tunnel. I think someone was fucking with him.
He's like Charlie Romiliotis.
Yeah,
he had a video of him doing it like prior.
What was he
from
doing?
The preseason. He leaves his stick like right where the camera shot is exiting the clubhouse, and he sets it a certain way, and he's always done it as a superstition. And then he grabs it walking out, and it wasn't there when he was walking out, so he had to sprint back to the clubhouse, grab another stick, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's so nervous, he forgot his stick."
Yeah, no. But like he definitely looked nervous in the first 10 minutes or so. Like he had
probably shitting his pants.
But like
that's normal.
They asked
Very
him.
normal.
They asked him, how'd you sleep last night? He goes, actually, like a baby. He's like, I was worried about that. He's like, I slept great, and like he belongs. Like there is no question that he might not win the scoring title this year, but he is without a doubt an NHL player right now.
And I'm sure he's just ready for it to just be where he goes out and plays hockey. Of
And
course, it's going to be a little different for him because all eyes are always going to be on him. But like
Did you
the
see
ref at center ice, like welcome to the league. Like, I was like
hated that.
Yeah, like I'm sure like the kid just wants to be like, all right,
Bro,
I get
drop
it.
the
Let me
puck.
fucking play.
Kelly Sutherland, it's not about you, brother.
Yeah.
But I did think the mic'd up ref in scrums during I hated that part. But the mic'd up ref in scrums,
I didn't see that.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah,
because they would be like, hey, nobody on Johnson, nobody on Johnson, and he like dropped, the refs just like swear at these guys all the time.
Yeah.
He's like, leave him the fuck alone, and it was like John, careful, he's got to skate right by his face, like just don't, nothing on this. So it's like, you want to fuck that guy? Yeah. But we're careful, like this is an actual dangerous situation. So I thought that was like an interesting wrinkle that I don't remember ESPN having last year as a mic'd up ref. Aside from the opening puck drop, which was super awkward and felt forced, the rest of it was cool.
It could have been cool. It just felt like that ref maybe was like not the.
I wonder if they told him to say something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, 100%.
Hey Sid, congrats on one more year.
Like if he says it like in a little different tone, like that was very much like the president of the university, like welcome to the ribbon cutting of the new library. You know, that's how he was. Where he's like, hey.
I also think it fucked Bedard up on that first face-off.
I'm sure it did
because he was like down. He was like down and ready, and then he had to like look back up at the ref, and then he drops the puck, and Sid wins it clean. So, but it was like a poetic thing too to have it be against Sid,
right?
And someone was like, "Yep, they rigged the draft and scripted the schedule." I'm like, I hope they did both of those things. Of course they scripted the schedule. What do you want to play fucking Winnipeg on a Tuesday night? Like, what do you open the season? What are we talking about?
I don't think you realize if Bedard becomes a player that we think he's going to become, that picture is going to become a classic picture.
Oh yeah.
That's
true. Like Jordan dunking.
Yeah, like that's like Sid versus Bedard.
It's a torch passing.
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
Like that's going to be a classic picture.
And exactly, because I remember because it's a little bit different when it was McDavid and Sid, because when McDavid came into the league, Sid won the cup like that year. He was still like in his prime, whereas now it feels like Sid is like the elder statesman, and he's on his way out. This is like one last go around basically for Pittsburgh these next couple of years. So, but yeah, I really had fun watching hockey, and it felt like everybody was watching it on Twitter. It was the first time probably since that, really the St. Louis series in 2016 where they had Seabrook invented the double doink where you went post and out and then lost in Game 7. It was the first time since then where I felt like everybody was watching hockey. It was great.
Can I say something, Ed?
The Hawks are back in the sense where like they have people's interest again.
Totally.
And that's a good thing.
I love that.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be a fun year. And I think I had a lot of people being like, I'm going to try to watch as much as I can this year. And
I still want you to circle 19 other games for me though.
All right. Well, they have 14 national TV games. I'll find some games for you.
Yeah.
I also have to feel out
I'm
the
going to
league.
watch more than that probably,
Yeah.
but like it's good for people that like are going to be honest with themselves and be like, hey, I'm not watching Saturday night.
Do you want a list? Do you want
me?
me to just kind of text you earlier that day?
Yeah, a blog, maybe a little blog.
Okay. Well, it's just one of those things.
Maybe text me.
I got to feel out the league a little bit too.
And I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Blackhawks being back, he's not all Eeyore.
Yeah, he's
No,
not.
I'm not. And it's like that whole thing where it's like I think they're going to be like competitive. That's Central Division. They're not going to make the playoffs. I'm not going to say that. Central Division's fucking terrible. St. Louis.
You've lost your ability to say anything like that.
What?
Anything grandiose.
Because of the Bears predictions.
Yeah.
Let's just wait. Okay.
Yeah.
But like St. Louis is terrible. Arizona's terrible. Nashville's terrible. Winnipeg's retooling. Like that Central Division, it's really just Dallas, Colorado, and Minnesota's pretty good. The other 5 teams are not good. So like there will be, there will be opportunities for the Hawks to get points inside their own division.
It's so crazy too, though, and I hate to bring this up, but 88-19, it's like
What?
It
you
was
didn't
weird.
even think about them.
Oh, I did.
You did?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like they showed this picture of Bedard's media scrum where it was like 10,000 people seemingly like in this small media room. It was zillion cameras, microphones on his face. It was after the morning skate, I think yesterday. And it's just like, Jesus, like if you had just had Kaner, he could have taken, obviously Bedard's still going to get a ton of attention, but like he would be able to ease some of that burden and still be the voice and the leader and all that. And I think they need, like, I'd still think that they are stupid for not having him on the team. And, he's looking healthy. They keep tweeting out videos of him training, skating, all this stuff. Like he would be great. And it's like, I'm looking at that team, like the power play. I got a bone to pick with them about the power play. It's stupid. They got Bedard on the, as a right shot on the left side, which is like that one-timer thing. Everything, he should be on the other side, have everything run through him. And that vision, if you could have had Kane on the left playing downhill, Bedard on the right playing downhill in that power play, it would be porn.
Yeah.
It would be fucking porn.
I didn't mean that in like a disrespectful way.
I know.
I just meant like it was all eyes on Connor. Like
Totally.
that's what, of course I'd love if Kane was still on the team. But
And
that's just how I meant it. It was like, oh, like you don't think of like, oh, like, I don't know.
Right. You know
And
what? I'm not
beyond-
even thinking about her anymore.
Yeah. But even like beyond that, like that
No
first
slight on Kane at all.
right, that first line, like I said, the Bedard line with Hall and Donato was very good all night long. The second line, which was Reichel, Johnson, and Athanasiou or Taylor Radish, they were kind of juggling a little bit. That line really struggled. That line, if you put Kane on the right wing of that line, well, now you have like 2 pretty fucking good. Your top 6 is pretty good. And then you start maybe you sniff around that wild card a little bit longer. But if you had 88 and 88,
Maybe they changed course, dude.
what?
Maybe they
Bring
changed
him back?
course after seeing that.
They won't. Can you imagine though? Like he does like the MJ press release, like I'm back.
dude. I'm horny for that.
Yeah. I'll send Danny a note. Be like, hey, just
amazing.
do this.
Be amazing.
Because that would be
Yeah.
incredible.
Well, exciting stuff.
Yep. And 2 first-round picks this year and 2 first-round picks next year. Like,
Yeah.
it's like we are on like it's really phase 1. It's still phase 1. You got your guy Bedard, but the building is like they don't even have all the guys that are going to be important when they're good again. It's just we're just starting. It's gonna be a long road, but it's gonna be a fun road. So if you haven't been a hockey fan, like now would be the time to get in.
This is it. All right, we could transfer over to the Bears. Before we do, though, I want to talk about the college basketball Barstool Invitational. It's back again on Wednesday, November 8th, this time at Wintrust Arena in Chicago. You get to experience college basketball like no other. In the first part of the doubleheader, we have FAU returning most of their team from the Final Four run last year to face Loyola and Sister Jean. Tip-off is set for 6 p.m. Central. In the second game, it's a battle of Brandon Walker versus Bobby Hurley as Mississippi State takes on Arizona State. It's a great lineup.
That's an awesome lineup.
Can I make a suggestion for our podcast?
Yeah.
Let's all get Arizona State gear. we'll just be like the biggest Arizona State fans in the world. Fuck Brandon Walker, and I will be a Bobby Hurley guy.
That's fine, but
Yeah.
I would like Loyola to win. Just
Well,
proximity.
Yeah, they can win the next round.
You can
I-
take off your Hogwarts sweater and you could put on a nice old devil shirt.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Yeah.
I
You
actually
had that
have
ASU hat. You always used to rock that.
I have ASU baseball jersey.
yeah. All right, so you're good. Ed and I got to get our gear because
I used to have a
I
college
think
polo.
I have a bunch of
bet
shit
you
you guys can
yeah.
to walk around and recruit
Yeah.
kids with, right?
Yeah, so that's gonna be cool.
Recruit
That,
kids already at Southern Illinois
Oh, yeah.
illegally.
yeah,
No.
yeah. So that's cool that it's here, and the Wind Trust I feel like is a perfect size for this event too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Tickets are on sale now. Get them at barstool.link/2023 invitational. That's barstool.link/2023 invitational. All right, Bears. Hey, I'm just going to say it. It does feel like they got you sitting up straight in your chair again going into this game.
Me or
A little
everyone?
bit. Just everyone.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like you are. I went into Thursday night. We did the stream and I sat down. And Danny and I had this segment like on our old podcast a lot where we talked about like chore drinking, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Danny, explain chore drinking for the people.
Chore drinking is like third day of the bachelor party where you'll get shamed if you don't drink. Chore drinking is like having to go to a birthday party on a Saturday and really you want to just stay at home.
Yeah, so
something-
we were.
Yeah.
I legitimately came in for that Commanders game and it was chore watching.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm beaten. I'm battered. We're 0-4. We're coming in and I'm just like, all right, if you win, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't feel that way about this week.
No, you want to win, and
Yeah.
you kind of think that they will.
And I think we are in an ideal spot, if we're being honest, because you look at, and people will say, oh, you want to lose. What, you idiot. Why are you rooting on wins? We have our chip
Yeah.
in the Carolina Panthers.
And they
Yep.
play like San Francisco this week or someone. They're going
They
to be
play the
0-6.
Dolphins this
Or the
week.
Yeah.
Dolphins, yeah,
Play
yeah.
the Dolphins
On the road.
Yes.
So it's, they're a loss.
We have our chip.
Mm-hmm.
If things go awry, totally, you hope that you get the number one pick or you get a top 3 pick, whatever, and we could worry about that when it comes. For now,
worry about tomorrow.
yeah, like
Yeah.
let's see how this next stretch goes.
Because the next stretch is kind. It's not like murderer's row.
Well, the Vikings don't have Jefferson,
And
they
they
look like a
stink
team
with-
like
True. Oh, they
they
stink
stink, they
anyways,
stink
yeah.
with them. They look like a team that's ready just to like bottom out.
Yeah, and so you win this one. The Raiders didn't look. They're not great. They're the next week, the 22nd, away at the Chargers. That's a primetime game. Who knows? At the Saints, like I'm not quivering in my boots about the Saints. And then you got the Panthers. Like that 5-game stretch.
Yeah.
You go 4-1 in that, and all of a sudden you're 5-5, and it's not like not plausible, but it's not inconceivable either.
Yeah, and listen, like let's not do the thing where we
Like I
lie
did
to
before?
ourselves. Yeah, like
Yeah.
let's not do that either. Like I still don't think we're very good. We got a lot of
No.
holes on defense. I'm excited to see them more this weekend.
The entire
Jalen Johnson's
secondary.
going to play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe Gordon's off IR.
he is.
Like so, it's
And Eddie Jackson's back. The whole
yeah,
secondary.
yeah,
is
like,
Eddie
back.
let's-
Jackson's back too.
Yeah.
Okay.
let's not do that where it's like, oh, we're back because
No.
we're not.
I don't even know what back would look like for this.
But
team.
I
Yeah.
think the games this Sunday is a lot more interesting than last Thursday.
10
was.
days off.
Yeah.
It's they're a 3-point favorite heading into this game, but a 3-point dog at home. I think I like the Bears in that game, and how much of that is just tied to DJ Moore, because that to me is what made it feel different, because it was like, all right, they're finally utilizing this guy the right way. The offense looks completely different. He looks like, remember we were saying at the beginning of the year, they got no dudes.
Oh, no,
he's a fucking dude. He's
Yes.
a dude. He's a dude.
He's the best player on the field at any given time.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I understand that it is sad that we're just looking for an interesting storyline throughout the season in week 6. Like,
Yeah.
we are already not where we wanted to be. Especially if you win that Broncos game, things are way higher than they were. But I don't know.
Just keep playing. Just you look at that. We went 5 weeks out, but really all that goes out the window if you lose against Minnesota. Just beat Minnesota. Then we'll have this conversation again heading into the Raiders, and just keep one at a time, because it is like you dug yourself a big hole, and it's been such a fucking disaster that I don't know. It's just like I like you're saying, like I kind of just want a reason to care. Like
Exactly.
Right.
And it's sad to be there and so early in the season.
Yeah.
But
there's a gleam. There's a gleam.
Yeah,
there was like
reality.
the old Marty Schottenheimer thing. Like there's a gleam, and it's better to have a little bit of like the door cracked open for some hope than nothing at all.
Yeah, I just wonder how long it's going to be like that, though.
Oh, it could be 4:00 on Sunday.
Yeah, because it's very well, but then you know how it works. Then you win one more, and then it just kind of sways back and forth. Because very much we could be sitting here, same attitude after the first 4 weeks, and be like, oh my god, we just got our doors blown off again. Like we're idiots. Like Commanders game was.
No, you got to win that game. You have to win that game at home.
Yeah.
And then that gives you the right to have one more good week, and then that gives you another. Like. But right now, it's like it's just one. You got
the only thing genuinely that matters right now is getting more data on Fields.
Yeah,
that's it.
And he had his 2 really good games in a row, but there were definitely I remember the one to DJ Moore in the back of the end zone. He just flat out missed him. Like he's far from
Miss Mooney.
Yeah, Miss Mooney, couple times
yeah.
Miss Mooney. So it's like you're right. Like you need to start seeing him play at a level where you don't necessarily care about Caleb Williams.
Because that's like the positives, and the reports are if the Bears get the number 1 pick or whoever gets the number 1 pick, you're taking Caleb Williams no matter what. So it might not even be Justin Fields' fault. He might go out there and do pretty well, but he's such a blue chip prospect, you can't pass on it.
But I wonder if it's like that. You think he's that? People talk about him like that?
Oh, yeah.
I already struggled last week.
Sure, but still people are still talking about him. Like it's...
Like he's the most can't miss guy. Because I don't feel like people talk about him the way they talked about Trevor Lawrence and the way they talked about Andrew Luck. Like those are the guys in my brain where it's like no matter
He's
what.
pretty close. The one that stuck out the most to me was Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
that was like pre-social media and everything.
But even Peyton was like, oh, some people are like Ryan Leaf, So, but yeah, like the ones to me in my life that I like genuinely remember, like I was an adult, were Andrew Luck and Trevor Lawrence, and I think that. We're talking about the project, like this project. I've said this before. You want Justin Fields to be good enough that even if you have the number 1, you trade back again. You just keep because they still have, like we've said over and over, they got a ton of holes. So if you have 2 picks in the first round, maybe you end up with 3 and then and 2 in the second, and you got to keep adding bodies to this so you're good. So I really hope it is just Fields he slams the door shut on all that, but we're a long ways from that, obviously.
Here's my fear. Like that's all like there's like hope in, like I said, having that Panthers chip and being able to let the season play out however it may, without sitting there being like, all right, let's just lose the next 13 weeks. But the worst case scenario is I see what's going on and what happened in New York, and that terrifies me.
What with like you have to commit to Daniel Jones, you have to commit to Fields, and he's just not it.
That terrifies me.
So
it genuinely does.
Here's what I don't understand that. I've never understood that about the NFL because I feel like mid quarterbacks get those paydays a lot. Who are they bidding against? Can someone just
they're just terrified of the unknown, maybe?
No, but it's like, hey,
terrified of restarting, terrified of the unknown.
But I think
teams that are closer than them being like, hey, you know what? We could take a chance here for X amount of money to see if this guy will get us over the hump.
I would love it if a GM would just be like, hey, like we are offering you, and I don't even know what the number would be. The quarterback money is insane. But to give Daniel Jones that money just because that's what other quarterbacks have gotten, and he is the most recent guy to need one, is insanity to me because at no point did Daniel Jones ever look like a franchise guy. So why pay him? If he can get that from somewhere else, someone else wants to give him that big money, he has to start over too. And just, all right, then fine.
Well, I think the argument is then you're starting over. And your roster might be just enough for
theirs wasn't.
I know, but I think they thought they were going to be a little better than they were.
Yeah.
I think they have more holes than they thought.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always,
it could be Dable being like, I'm not, I didn't take this job to.
Yeah. I've and this is not specific to Daniel Jones. I've always wondered that. Like, why? So I think it does more damage to commit to the wrong guy than to let that guy leave.
I agree.
It's almost like, can we then we go and get. And again, I'm making up the name because I don't know what he got in free agency. But do we go and get a Garoppolo type as like a stopgap while we look for the next real quarterback, and continue on this road. But you can't give these guys like all this guaranteed money. You just fuck up your whole your salary structure, and you end up having all these holes, and you're committed. And he's not the guy. So yeah, that is a very scary
dude.
It is scary.
And
it's like, this is where I get like, well, why isn't it this way? But this is the way. This is the way it is. So yeah, you're right. That is a concern for sure.
And next year's year 4, so you do have one more, and then you could do the option. But man, that scares me looking ahead.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. We need some definitiveness here in the last
you either
13
want
games or whatever
to go fucking ball out for the next 12 games, or completely fucking shit the bed.
And he's had great numbers the last 2 games, but if he plays at this level, like if this is his ceiling, so to speak, I don't think that's necessarily good enough.
I'd almost agree.
Yeah.
I'd almost
as good
agree.
as he's been.
Yeah.
I don't think that this is
because
good
it's
enough.
2 bad teams, and there was still some, like you said, there was a good amount of misses last week.
Yeah.
And I think, you're right. And that's what, Mitch was the king. Mitch's numbers from, year 2, something, it was pretty decent because
25 touchdowns, 12 picks, and like 3,500 yards.
He was the king. I think he had like 5 passing touchdowns against the Bills or the Bucks.
Yeah.
He had 6.
He had that one
against
game.
The Bucks, yeah.
6 against the Bucks. Like that, it was that shit really inflates everything at the end. So I think situation matters a lot, and you look back and like that Bucks second half, like that's got to be in your brain a little bit.
I was reading a stat that,
and I still believe, but I'm just saying you need to.
Yeah, you got to see more.
You can't be.
It was his yards during a catch. So take away all yards after catch. It was still well below league average last week. It was like 7.2 in league average.
Because DJ Moore did.
Exactly, because DJ Moore did a ton of the work, which
that's why you have him.
Yeah. But also, like, his first 3 weeks passes in the air over 10 yards were like the worst in the league. The last 2 weeks,
the best.
Yeah. So even just passes in the air over 10 yards, he is showing improvement. So while DJ Moore did have like certainly inflated those numbers, Fields was better on his own right too. And yeah, like I'm looking at Mitch's numbers from the 18 year, 66% completion, 3,200 yards, 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. But it was like, even like we've said it, like no one was really convinced, after that, even after a serviceable year. It's like he's got to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then he cratered.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah.
Big game. We'll be out there Sunday.
Yep.
At a tailgate, Field Museum. Mm-hmm. Watch our socials and we'll be talking about it, I'm sure.
Yep.
We could end on a burial for Notre Dame, or
yeah, they're done.
I got one more NFL thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is completely awesome watching Jordan Love stink.
Yeah.
Does it not?
Nice. It is.
It is kind of nice,
I
isn't
will-
it?
It's not nice.
We
It's
have our
fucking
own issues
awesome. Yeah.
as Bears fans.
Yeah.
It's fucking
That
sweet.
guy-
He stinks,
The only team he looked good against was the Bears. So,
which is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's
that
week 1.
That was
Yeah,
forever
it's still
ago.
shake. Yeah,
It's not fun.
That was a yesterday.
That was forever ago.
yesterday thing.
Yeah. But
We're
he
forward
looked,
focused in this podcast.
He looked awful, and he's really bad, because I wrote a blog it was like the shortest blog ever, but it was like just posting like Warren Sharp stats and highlights and all like these NFL guys like breaking down Jordan Love. And Packers fans, I wrote that on, I think it was Tuesday morning. For 48 hours, they've just been in my mentions like, you're a fucking clown, like you're an idiot. Like, I think that they're rattled.
They're triggered.
They don't have a Hall of Famer for the first
Were
time in
people
their
shitting
lives.
on him?
No, they're shitting on me.
No, we're the the analysts and stuff.
Oh, bad. Bad.
I would have
Horrible.
He sucks.
Well, I don't know. Because even when like Field struggles, there's people who were like, "Oh, actually, it's the offense." I didn't know.
Well,
what
and there
exactly he
were
was
like
watching.
people trying to make excuses for him. That's like, oh, like he has, the 19th or 20th best wide receivers, and his offensive line grades out at like the 18th best, and it's like, hey, 18th best is like, that's not horrible. It's better than what Fields
middle of the
scored, man.
pack.
It sucks because Jordan Love's probably a good guy. It's nothing personal against him. But
Oh no, it's very personal.
You
You
wear
should
those-
have never fucking played for that team.
you wear those colors. Fuck you.
Yeah, and that was like the first line. I think for the first time in my life, I wouldn't trade the Bears starter for the Packers starter straight up. Would you? Would you trade Fields for Love straight up?
No.
Right.
No fucking way.
And you've never been able to say that before.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Who's the Bears quarterback in like 88, 89 season?
Probably
was that
Doug
McMahon?
Flutie.
Actually, no, it was
McMahon.
Flutie because my mom went into labor I was 12:30 or something like that on a Sunday, and my dad was fucking pissed because he had to miss the Bears game to watch me get born.
He's been holding it against you since then.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Fucking guy cutting the grass.
yeah.
Any
And it was
words on Notre
Flutie
Dame
as a starter.
before you wrap up?
Wish Fest tickets are now on sale.
They are, yeah. Wish Fest November 4th will be there. That's a Clemson game for Notre Dame. That's Saturday. So we'll be having TVs there. But yeah, I think Notre Dame is in big trouble. And
I'm upset. I just gushed over Hartman in the last podcast.
I know, but like that offense, and people gave me a hard time for this when they fucked around with their offensive coordinator hiring, where they had the guy from Utah in. They took him in a hockey game, Freeman. He's on the jumbotron. He's waving. They couldn't figure out like the buyout with Utah, so he goes back to Utah, and Notre Dame promotes the tight end coach. Their offense, their game plan is atrocious, and it's like we were traveling, so I didn't see much of that game against Louisville. But that was always a stinky game to me. I was talking to Big Ev last week, and he's like, I think I like Notre Dame. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I know Duke's good and winning on the road after Ohio State, but
Emotional hangover.
But they don't look crisp. They don't look like they know what they're doing offensively. They don't have their identity. They used to just be offensive line, run it down your fucking throat. They can't really run the ball. They had that kid Blake Fisher, who is like one of the highest recruited guys. Before the year, people are saying that they're going to have Joe Alt and Blake Fisher, both their starting tackles, were projected to be first-round picks. They straight up benched Blake Fisher in the Louisville game. I can't envision a scenario where they find a way to beat USC. So then you're looking at a year where, at best, if you don't drop one, you're 9-3. They lost to Marshall last year. I think it could be. I think the hot seat for Freeman, the seat could be getting warm for Freeman, and he lost a bunch of recruits last year. The Notre Dame had a lot of success under Brian Kelly, and it was a competent offensive plan, but they were O-line like they were churning out a ton of NFL guys. They have talent on the offensive line. They're not getting the most out of them. And Tommy Rees left, he's staying left, and it's like the wheels completely fell off. So I think that football program, as we transition into this NIL, Super League, all this kind of shit, I think they're going to be a little bit nervous because it does not look good right now.
Should go to the Big Ten.
I don't think that's good for them though either. It may be a little bit different now with USC in there, but
I don't know if anything can be shown to you that what you would say that'd be good for the Big Ten.
It'd be great for the Big Ten.
No, for like that you would be like that you would think it's good for Notre Dame.
I do think it's a little different now because Notre Dame they've always recruited nationally. So it's important to have those games out in California. It's important to play the whole, they play the Southeast and these recruiting hotbeds, and they usually have a game against either Pitt or BC to play in the north, or Syracuse up in the Northeast. And they usually schedule Texas or Georgia or Alabama or somebody. So they kind of cover all their bases and they get guys from everywhere. If you join a regional league, you become a regional team. And I think that was always like the big concern about joining the Big Ten. But now I feel like that is mitigated a little bit with the powerhouses from out west coming in. So we'll see. I hope they remain, independent, but I'm starting to be very nervous about this. Is the most nervous I've been about Notre Dame probably since like year 3 or 4 Brian Kelly, when they went like 4-8 that one year. I was like, wait a second, what the fuck's going on here? But it seems bad right now.
Not good.
That's
good.
a damn shame.
Yeah.
All right then.
But at least the Hawks are back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
I would trade the Hawks being good over Notre Dame any day.
That's true. Danny?
I think I let it all out today. Thank you.
Hey, we appreciate it. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. That's it for today. See what happens Sunday. Go Bears.
Go Bears.